Imagine this. Every month you're throwing away thousands of dollars simply because you chose the wrong storage class for your files. Sounds crazy? But this is exactly what's happening in hundreds of companies right now. Let's imagine a successful IT startup. Everything is going great. A growing customer base, stable revenue, an ambitious team. And like any self-respecting company, they make backups. Lots of backups. Every day, new database backups, logs, server snapshots. All of it goes straight into Amazon S3 Standard, the most popular cloud storage service in the world. The first month, these files are used constantly. Developers pull them back and forth, test recovery, check integrity. Makes sense. But after the first month, nobody touches these files. They just sit there, day after day, month after month, year after year. And the bills from Amazon keep coming, and they're not small. The CTO looks at the reports and grabs his head. Terabytes of data that nobody uses are devouring the budget like a hungry monster. Here's the problem. The files must be stored forever. That's a regulatory requirement. They can't be deleted. But paying this much for data that's just gathering dust in the cloud, that's insanity. A solution has to be found, and it has to be found as soon as possible. The architect opens AWS documentation and sees 4 possible paths. Option A. Enable S3 intelligent tiering, a smart system that automatically moves files between storage tiers. Option B. Set up a lifecycle policy to move files from S3 Standard to S3 Glacier Deep Archive after 1 month. Option C. Set up a lifecycle policy to move files from S3 Standard to S3 Standard Infrequent Access after 1 month. Option D. Set up a lifecycle policy to move files from S3 Standard to S3 One-Zone Infrequent Access after 1 month. Now it's your turn. You're the architect. The company's budget is in your hands. Which solution will you choose? Think about it. Weigh all the factors. Cost, reliability, access patterns. Write your answer in the comments right now. A, B, C, or D. You have 15 seconds. Time's up. Let's break it down. Option D, S3, One-Zone Infrequent Access. Let's start with the most dangerous option. One-Zone IA sounds tempting. It's cheaper than standard storage, but there's one critical nuance that breaks the entire idea. The words One-Zone are not just a name, they're a warning. Your data is stored in only one availability zone. One. If that zone goes down, fire, flood, earthquake, your backups are gone, forever. Remember the requirement? These files must be stored indefinitely. These are backups, critically important data. Cutting costs on backup reliability is like buying a cheap parachute. Sure, you saved money, but the one time it doesn't open, that's it. Verdict? No. Too risky. Option C. S3 Standard Infrequent Access. This option is smarter. Standard IA is designed for data that's accessed rarely. And unlike One-Zone IA, the data is replicated across multiple availability zones. Reliability is solid. But let's look at the numbers. S3 Standard IA costs approximately $0.0125 per gigabyte per month. Sounds cheap? We'll compare it in a moment. The real question is, how rarely do we access these files? In our case, the files are not accessed at all after the first month. Never. Standard IA is optimized for data that's read occasionally, once a month, once a quarter. For data that sits unused for years, there's a better option. Verdict? Not bad, but not optimal. Option A. S3 Intelligent Tiering, Intelligent Distribution. Sounds like a dream, right? The system automatically analyzes access patterns and moves files between tiers. And honestly, it's a great technology for some scenarios. But there are 2 problems. First, intelligent tiering charges a monitoring fee. It's small, but it applies to every object. With millions of files, that adds up fast. Second, and more importantly, we already know the access pattern. Why pay a smart system to analyze something when the answer is obvious? Files are actively used for 1 month, and then never again. Intelligent tiering shines when access patterns are unpredictable. When you don't know which files will be needed tomorrow, then yes, let the machine decide. But when the pattern is known and stable, it's like hiring a detective to find your own home address. Verdict? Overkill for this scenario. Option B, S3 Glacier Deep Archive. And here it is, the winner. S3 Glacier Deep Archive. The cheapest storage option in the entire Amazon S3 ecosystem. Let's dive into the numbers. S3 Standard, $0.023 per gigabyte per month. S3 Standard IA, $0.0125 per gigabyte per month. S3 Glacier Deep Archive, $0.00099 per gigabyte per month. Do you see that? Deep Archive is 20 times cheaper than Standard IA. For 1 terabyte, that's the difference between $12 and $1 per month. For a petabyte, $12,000 versus $1,000 every single month. Yes, there's a trade-off. Data retrieval can take up to 12 hours. But remember the use case. These files are not needed after the first month. If one day, in an emergency, you need to restore something, waiting a few hours is completely acceptable. Setup? Simply create a lifecycle policy. After 30 days, move to Glacier Deep Archive. That's all. Reliability? 11 nines. Your data will survive even if half of Amazon's data centers go underwater. So, what did we learn today? Choosing storage isn't just a checkbox in the settings. It's a strategic decision that can affect a company's budget for years. 3 rules for choosing S3 storage. 1. Know your access pattern. 2. Don't overpay for features you don't need. 3. For archival data stored forever, Glacier Deep Archive is your best friend. What answer did you choose? Did you get it right? Write it in the comments. And if this video was helpful, you know what to do. See you in the next episode.